The next new topic we need to talk about is when we're creating these relative frequency tables for the entire two-way table. So in this example, it says 200 students in a summer camp voted for the location of a field trip. So we've broken it down into the rows. We have boys and girls. And then for our columns, we have those that voted for the zoo, those that voted for the park, and those that voted for the aquarium. Of course, we have our total for each of those at the bottom, and we have our total girls and boys that were surveyed, and our table total of 200, which is how many we surveyed. So in this problem, the directions say, create a relative frequency. Remember, when you see these two words together, then it should should know that means you're going to have to make a fraction and turn it into a percentage. Okay? So create a relative frequency two-way table for the whole table. Now, when you see whole table, that's going to indicate out of total surveyed. So out of the total surveyed or table total, whichever one you want to call it. Remember yesterday or in 3-4 we learned that this is called the 200 is the table total. It's how many people were total surveyed. So we're going to be making fractions for every single blank on here, and in every single one of them it's going to be out of 200. So basically, you could go through and make a bunch of fractions with 200 as your denominator. And then you're going to take the numerators from the values that are in them up here in the original table. So right here where it says boys that voted for zoo, we come up here and we see that 50 boys voted for zoo. So our fraction is going to be 50 out of 200. And then you do the same thing we did before, turn it into a decimal, which is going to be 0.25, and that's 25%. Then we go to the next one. How many boys voted for park? That would be 20. So 20 out of 200, divide that in your calculator, is 0.1. Turn that into a percentage would be 10%, because remember, you move that decimal 2 places to the right. All right, how many boys voted for aquarium? That would be 30. And we're doing it out of the total surveyed because it's a whole table, so out of 200. And 30 divided by 200 is 15. So that would be, decimal 1.5, so that'd be 15%. All right, and then we are still going to do the totals as well. So this is a little different. You're going to do 100 out of 200. Divide that in your calculator. You're going to get 0.5, which is 50%. And you should know 1/2, 100 over 200 equals a half, which is 50%. All right, then you're going to do the next row and just keep going. How many girls voted for zoo? 40. So 40 out of 200. 40 divided by 200 in your calculator is decimal 2. So that's 20%. Then girls that voted for park would be 40 out of 200 surveyed. 40 out of 200 is again going to be 0.2, which is 20%. How many girls voted for aquarium? 20 out of 200. 20 out of 200 is 0.1, which is 10%. And then the total would be 100 out of 200 girls voted, which is 0.5, which is 50%. So half were boys that voted and half were girls that voted. All right, and then it's broken down by percentages. 25% voted for, or boys that voted for zoo, and so forth, okay? Now, we still want to do this bottom row as well. So we're going to have 90 out of 200. Oh, I put 900. Let me fix that. 90 out of 200. 90 divided by 200 is 0.45. So that's 45%. And it's nice that these are ended up being whole numbers so we don't have to round. Total for park is 60. So 60 out of 200 And if you're making this on your paper, you're doing the exact same thing as me, okay? If you're filling in the notes, you're just filling in these blanks the same as I am. So that's 30%. And aquarium total would be 50 out of 200. 50 out of 200 divided in your calculator is 0.25, which is 25%. And last but not least, 200 out of 200 equals 1. And then we want to turn 1 into a percentage. The decimal, remember, would be after the 1. So you're going to move it 2 places to the right, which becomes 100%. And this would always end with 100% if you're doing it out of the whole table. So that's how you make a whole table relative frequency table. You will have to do one of these on your practice, so make sure you know that it says whole table. That means the denominator for every one of these is the total, 200. All right.